Welcome to Dance 101. I'm your host, Teresa Alzadon with the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg, Kentucky, and for the next few minutes, I'll be your host through an introduction to the world of dance. Our goal is to prepare you to understand, identify, and intelligently discuss some of the basic concepts and styles of dance. The topics that we'll cover in our time together are some of the same topics you'll be required to know on CATS testing, so listen up, this will be on the test. Let's get started. First of all, let's define what dance is. Our definition will become fuller as we go on, but for now, let's define dance as a series of rhythmic and patterned bodily movements that are usually performed to music. Dance is all about movement, it's physical, it's athletic, it's dynamic. But motion isn't the whole story. Like other forms of art, dance involves the expression of thoughts, ideas, and feelings to an audience. Dance can tell a story, deliver a message, or express a theme. Dance is also social. It's enjoyable. It brings people together. So now that we have a working definition of what dance is, we've got to have some way to talk about it, some concepts that are common to all styles of dance throughout history. After all, there are thousands of dances in existence, far more than we can cover in 2 classes. Where do we begin? Since dance is about movement, let's start there. First of all, let's start by defining the 2 types of dance movement, locomotor and non-locomotor. Locomotor movements are movements that travel. Motions like leaping, walking, or skipping are examples of locomotor movements. Non-locomotor movements are movements that can be performed without moving from your spot. Examples of non-locomotor movement might include swaying, rising, dodging, stretching, and bending. The rule is, if a motion takes your feet from where they were to some new place, then we're talking about a locomotor movement. If your feet do not move to a new location, then we're talking about a non-locomotor movement. It's simple. Now that we've identified the 2 types of movement, let's talk about the 3 elements of dance. Each element has a number of parts you'll need to know, but don't worry, we'll give examples of each as we go along. The 3 elements of dance are space, time, and force. Let's begin with space. Space is the idea that real things have width, depth, and height. Since a dancer has a body and exists and moves through space, we can use space-related terms to describe her motions. The first part of space we need to discuss is size. A dancer's movements can be small, medium, or large. Her body can take up a tiny amount of space or a large amount of space. The same thing goes for her motions. She can stay in one spot as she dances and use very little floor space, or she can move from one side of the stage to the other and use a lot of floor space. Another way we can talk about space is in terms of shape. A dancer can make shapes with her body. Circles, squares, triangles, zigzags, and curves. Let's see how many different ways our dancers can incorporate a circle into their dance. They could turn in a circle, walk in a circle, gesture in a circular motion, or make a circle with their arms, hands, or fingers. A group of dancers can also create circles. The third part of space is level. This is a way to describe height, from low to medium to high. When a dancer stands with her feet flat on the floor, we call that a medium level. Anything lower than that, like lunging, kneeling, rolling, or lying down, is low level. Anything higher, like standing on her toes, jumping, or building on top of other dancers, is high level. Dancers can also have direction to their movements. Dancers can move forward, backward, and sideways. Direction can also be diagonal, clockwise, or counterclockwise. Dancers also move across the floor using pathways. Just like following a path through the woods, a pathway in dance can be curved, straight, or zigzag. Finally, we come to the concept of focus. As you watch a dance, you may find your eyes naturally drawn to a particular point. If you're watching a dancer do a tricky combination, the focus might be the dancer's feet. Or maybe your eye is drawn to a prop that the dancer is holding, or to a certain part of the dancer's costume. Focus can also mean the dancer's focus. Where is the dancer looking? At the audience? At a set piece or a certain part of the stage? Or maybe an entire group of dancers is looking at one individual dancer. These are all examples of focus. The next element of dance is time. Every movement has a beginning point and an ending point, and that takes time to complete. There are a number of ways to describe the element of time in a dance. The first one is called beat. Beat is the regular pulse of the music. The beat can be counted or tapped out, and dance movements usually line up with it. Dancers usually count the beat in 8-count steps, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find the beat in this musical example and tap or count along. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes the music is written with the beat in counts of 3. This kind of music is called a waltz and has a specific dance that goes with it, also called a waltz. Listen to this example of a waltz and see if you can tap out the 3-count beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The second term we have to talk about time in dance is tempo. Tempo refers to how fast or slow a dance is. If the tempo of the music is fast, the dance is likely to be fast. If the tempo of the music is slow, the dance is likely to be slow. Our next term is accent. An accent is a strong beat. Remember when we counted out the waltz? Listen again and see if you can find the strong beat in each set of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's right. Beat 1 is stronger than beats 2 and 3. That strong beat is called an accent. A dancer can also accent her movements in time with the music. Watch how they emphasize the 1 count with a stronger movement in this waltz. Another way we can describe time is with the concept of rhythmic pattern. A rhythmic pattern is a group of movements that vary in length. For example, the foxtrot, a popular ballroom dance, is based on this rhythmic pattern. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, slow, quick, quick. See if you can find the rhythmic pattern in these 2 examples. First, let's see a march. Next, let's see a gallop. The next term we have for discussing time is duration. Duration is a measure of how long a movement takes from start to finish. Dance movements can be short or long or anything in between. The third and final element of dance is force. Force means a dancer's use of energy, and the best way to describe a dancer's use of energy is in contrasting words. Let me give you an example. Let's take the words heavy and light. How do our dancers' movements appear? Their movements have a downward flow of energy. Their feet make noise when they hit the floor. We would call that heavy. This time, their movements are quiet and delicate. They seem to almost float across the floor. We would call this light. What other contrasting words can we use to talk about a dancer's force? How about sharp and smooth? Or tension and relaxation. The force of a dance might be the same throughout the entire piece, or it might change from one moment to another. And we're not limited to just one word to describe a dancer's force. For example, a dancer's force might be both sharp and heavy at one time. And there you have it, all the tools you need to describe and discuss any dance you come across. Before we finish up though, let's review some of the information that we've discussed today. Are you ready? Dance is defined as a series of rhythmic and patterned bodily movements usually performed to music. Like other forms of art, dance involves the expression of thoughts, ideas, and feelings to an audience. There are two types of dance movement, locomotor and non-locomotor. Locomotor movements are movements that travel. Non-locomotor movements are movements that can be performed without moving from your spot. There are three elements of dance: space, time, and force. The first element of dance is space. Space is the idea that real things have width, depth, and height. The terms we use to talk about space are size, shape, level, direction, pathway, and focus. The second element of dance is time. All movement has a starting point and an ending point, and that takes time to complete. The terms we use to talk about time are beat, tempo, accent, rhythmic pattern, and duration. And the final element of dance is force. Force is the dancer's use of energy. The best way to describe the dancer's energy is by using contrasting words like heavy and light, smooth and sharp, and tension and relaxation. The world of dance is so much larger than we've been able to show today, but with the terms and concepts you've learned, you now have the tools you need to understand and intelligently discuss any dance you come across. In our next class, we'll look at the forms and purposes of dance throughout history. Now, let's take a short quiz on the information we covered in today's class. Question 1. Is this an example of locomotor movement or non-locomotor movement? Question 2. Which of these 6 are the 3 elements of dance? A. Speed. B. Force. C. Rhythm. D. Space. E. Forward. F. Time. Question 3. Size, shape, and level are examples of which element of dance? A. Time. B. Depth. C. Force. D. Space. Question 4. True or false? Tempo means the speed of a dance. Question 5. An accent is A. A shape. B. A strong or emphasized movement. C. An element of dance. D. The use of energy while dancing. Question 6. This movement is an example of A. Locomotor movement. B. Tension. C. Low level. D. Forward direction. Question 7. Which of the following is an example of force? A. Curved pathway. B. Beat. C. Duration. D. Heavy. Question 8. Focus means A. Topic or theme of a dance. B. Point to which the audience's eyes are drawn. C. How long a movement lasts. D. A type of music.